25.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Welcome. And today we're going to be talking about wisdom. We'll do our opening prayer and I'll introduce Leslie.
Oh, hi.
Leslie.
We'll do our opening prayer. Mother, Father, God, we give gratitude and thanks for this day. We ask for your infinite light of protection to be with us and throughout this building and on Zoom, so that only the highest and best will occur through our thoughts, words, and actions. And through those thoughts, words, and actions will lead us to a better understanding of our own self. So when we meet those on our path, we have a better understanding of them. We give thanks for this day. Amen.
Amen.
We got a couple more people joining us. Right? So today, Leslie's going to be talking on wisdom. And here is Leslie.
Thank you, Reverend Angela.
You're welcome.
Just out of curiosity, I'm giving my talk on wisdom. Is that true? Okay,
Yep.
very good. I just want to make sure that whether this is off the cuff or my talk. So it's good to know what I'm being expected to do. I've always had a kinship with Alice Kingsley, the very same fictional young Alice, of maybe 10 years old from Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This privileged, naive girl who ends up in a fantastic and dangerous world where adults are bonkers, rules are purposely confusing, nothing can be expected, and impossible things are encouraged. Growing up, I rarely had any idea what was going on around me. At 5, my parents divorced and each married bizarrely fractured and frankly mad characters. The stepmother, deeply insecure, she was an addict and she was out to get me. The stepfather was lazy, punishing the world for his bad choices, and avoided wearing pants at all times. These two step-parents became the central figures in my life. The birth parents were happy to fade away into the background and become insignificant characters in my early story. My father avoided the situation by traveling constantly, and my mother, the damsel in distress, protected herself by offering up her daughters as tribute. Even outside my home, extended family, there was lots of danger in the world that I grew up in. People were typically not what they initially seemed, and I quickly learned should not be trusted. I knew at an early age what drugs and alcohol were, and I watched the effects take hold of the parents and people around me. Near disasters were common, being stuck in the snow in the back roads of the Sierras, bizarre fishing trips, strange escalations. Car accidents were always worse when children were mocked for wearing seatbelts. These were seriously irresponsible parents and people with no business having children to be taken care of. To make things even an added layer, I'm an intuitive medium, so an extra layer of confusion on top. I knew, I saw, I heard things I shouldn't. I could read a room instantly and know if it's safe. I learned early in childhood that some men and boys had plans for me that must be avoided. I could feel the energies and intentions and notice when actions didn't correspond with people's words. The lies that my birth parents perpetuated to rationalize or explain away the abuse were so obvious to me. Later in my life, I saw that the abusive patterns had been learned and perpetuated for generations in my family. This is why it felt familiar and comfortable to the adults around me. They knew this dance. What is family if there isn't at least one unhealed and toxic adult in the corner you must walk on eggshells for? Everyone seems to have them. Most of the houses, the physical houses we moved into over the years, were haunted. It was restless and active spirits that wanted my attention. I started telling my parents about seeing and hearing shadow people in first grade. Of course, British parents in the Alice in Wonderland books didn't believe young Alice when she spoke of impossible things. And just in character, my family didn't believe me. Worse, I was characterized as wanting extra attention from such things. Man, that's the last thing I was desiring, was for more attention from these mad, mad people. So imagine this topsy-turvy world. Who teaches you how to be normal when you're not like anyone else around you? What if you're the only one? And honestly, I was looking for people that looked like me or acted like me. I really was. How do you know what to do? especially when you realize that you can do anything. That's pretty fascinating. So pickle. My current guiding principle in my life is wisdom. Wisdom is the thing that's getting me through. Wisdom is one of the 12 mind powers that we're learning today about the study of metaphysical principles. The seed for wisdom is in your lower abdomen near your solar plexus. Another way of saying wisdom is judgment. And some people think the word judgment to be triggering or irritating. And if it is triggering or irritating, as Reverend David says, you may choose to investigate that irritation because you might learn some stuff out about yourself. Our metaphysical principles tell us that those who master the power of wisdom and order will be able to rule themselves. And we've been taught that if you rule your thoughts, words, and actions, that you can control your future. It is wise to follow the order of rules of society, since it creates less chaos. These rules of society are delivered up to us in so many ways: rules of law, code of conduct, it could be your employee handbook, or we just read them from daily observation. Understanding the wisdom of the rules that we follow will help us to sustain this happiness, health, and wealth. Investigating and questioning the structure of the order in which you're encountering will give you more information to make a wiser decision. About 3 years ago, for me, I realized that the rules that I was following to conform to the order of the marriage that I had built were unwise. I had chosen to be married to someone who required elaborate rules and protocols in order to not be triggered by their unhealed thoughts, words, and actions. In the end, I decided the wisest thing I could do was to remove myself from that structure for that marriage. Wisdom, justice, judgment, intuition, faith, those are all linked in a spiritual awareness. Wisdom can sometimes be that small voice that whispers, yeah, but what about? Or hold up, this doesn't feel quite right. And confusion can arise when this small wisdom voice is tainted with self-doubt. An unhealed ego can sabotage us. But telling that what's going against the order isn't safe or wise somehow. It's important to have a healthy and confident sense of self. We are taught to know ourselves that we may master our thoughts, words, and actions. So it's counterintuitive, but our fears and insecurities can actually derail our wise wisdom and our future. The phrase crippled by self-doubt that we sometimes hear is accurate. If you don't trust yourself, then we may have a difficult time believing that our desired reality is actually our desired outcome is a worthy destination. The chapel teaches us to plant seeds and not dig them up, to let them grow. We may be doing exactly the correct thing at the correct time. However, if our faith in ourselves isn't stabilized, we can disrupt our own path with negative talk and self-doubt. Without faith in our wisdom, wisdom without faith in our wisdom is just history, data, and knowledge. Wisdom without faith in our wisdom is just history, data, and knowledge. Continuing to ignore our inner voice of wisdom for fear, short-term ease, or pleasure will cause our awareness of the invisible realm to decrease. When we have too much emphasis placed in the material world, our trust in our abilities can fade. In my opinion, this is the opposite of knowing myself. Wise choices will form a future filled with what you desire. Reverend David likes to say, desire is a worthy destination. When I'm in a funk or a pity party or irritated, I visualize myself as the small 3-inch Alice, the one that drank the bottle or ate the cookie, I forget, at the bottom of an empty plastic bucket. I'm too small to get out of it myself, but I can rationalize that it's just a plastic bucket. And of course I can get out of this. I can fix my problem. I then investigate the who, what, where, when, why of the situation and use data to formulate my current best case scenario to solve my dilemma. There's got to be a best case answer. When the world gets curiouser and curiouser, Spirit wants you to get curious. Using these tools, I'm able to guide my future with my choices. As a kid growing up, I chose to throw myself into school and become an excellent student. It allowed me to further myself and plan a path away from my dysfunctional household. I decided early on that the new knowledge and a whole new uncharted familiar path was where I needed to go. Turns out I needed new people, new places, and new things. I've never been interested in following anyone else's footsteps. except for white rabbits out of Wonderland. Lately, I felt wisdom as the wind that fills my sails. It's a quiet, sometimes gentle force that I can harness to further my goals. It's always with me. I can ask myself what it thinks, and it's very clear with me. When I trust myself, my choices, and my wisdom, the future is much less scary and feels easy. When I trust my wisdom, I feel safe and peaceful. Peace I am still.
Does anybody have any questions on wisdom or comments?
I really like that last statement. When I trust my wisdom, I feel calm. So many times, for me anyway, I get the wisdom and then my judgment brain starts arguing with it. Sometimes arguing for it and sometimes arguing against it. And either one is not good as far as having, peace within our body.
Right. Yeah, the faith part of it, a lot of these mind powers, when I look at them on their own, are tough to quantify on their own. But when you combine it with another, it's like, oh, that's what that feels like. Oh yeah, faith and wisdom is, oh yeah, that's what I want. Wisdom on its own seems almost just kind of hollow.
Similar to wisdom and willingness.
Yeah, that's wisdom and zeal, maybe. Willingness.
Will.
Got it. Yeah.
When we think
Design.
of, pardon me, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kim.
I was just thinking of, when I think of wisdom, it comes also from living and growing. And, and they always say, as we get older, we get more wisdom. And then through my studies of being here at the chapel, so I've, you can put into all of our past lives and so all the wisdom that we have gained, through time too, because it's just, that's where our knowledge of learning comes from. So I think I liked your analogy, and I've told you that before, and I just think it's a beautiful picture of really where you came from and, how your wisdom came to who you are today. And it's actually a beautiful story, Leslie.
Thank you.
Well, and it's innate, like you're saying, it's in the solar plexus, and the fact that you, as a young girl, decided, it was wise to apply yourself to school and to studies. I mean, so many people don't have that. They don't trust that, or they don't have that innate, well, this is what's best for me. Some people just, they get drawn into all the drama and all the stuff that you were surrounded with. And, so you had that from a young girl on. You just, that you just knew that was wise for you. And that's how you removed yourself, from that life.
Yeah. I found my diary from when I was 8, and I wrote it in code because I knew that if they thought that I was against them, that I would be in really bad trouble. So I'm looking at these entries and I'm like, I know exactly what I was saying there. And it's funny because I had a party with a friend the other day, and she told me that she also wrote in code in her diary when she was young, single sentences that was like, if I put a heart here, I know what that meant. And you can just put your finger on the paper and you just feel like, oh, I remember that day.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing other people's other experience and Angie's nodding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Write in gibberish. If you guys ever remember that. I the guy with the again to the go, the guy. I went to the Putting to my parents, and my brother didn't know any of it. So I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
Big Latin in my day.
Yeah. Yeah, funny. That's interesting.
But sometimes we do know things. I, as a young girl, when I had to remove myself from my family that wasn't dysfunctional at all. I mean, not like yours, we all are, we're all works in progress, and every, it's all different situations, and you sometimes can't see it, but I knew I had a step away for me to start my healing, and I didn't even know why, but you just have that. You just know this is what's best for me right now, and you just go for it.
One
Yeah.
of the best I found with wisdom is knowing what not to do.
Mhm.
You learn that by making mistakes.
Yes.
You're not wrong.
At the same time, knowing what to do as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Not to do, you know what to do.
The same thing.
I don't think they're the same thing.
Take it very word for word, but it's really the same thing.
The same thing as what not to do is to do.
Yeah.
You're not to do that, you go ahead and do it anyways.
So how do you describe that? So like when you know it's not right and you do it anyway, like you just said.
Building
That's
karma.
what you
Insane.
said.
I describe it insane.
You said they were the same.
What'd you say, lady? Jay?
I describe it insane
Insane.
or downright stupid.
What does David say?
What did you say?
What?
What did you say just now?
He was trying to explain what she meant, that the two things are not the
Oh.
same thing, and that's what he was trying to make her understand. And Lady J, I believe, got it by her saying that in reality it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because doing the same
Yeah.
thing over and over is insane.
Okay.
When you know it's not right.
Well, that's what I was speaking to was, I think you said, why do we do things when we know they're not right? And what do you call that?
Sanity.
We were given a gift of intuition, of knowing, and then we don't follow it. I mean, that's not using our gifts.
Well, it's free choice. We're here for choices to make the decision if we're going to do something or not. And then, and I said it was building karma because, you don't know. I mean, you don't know. You do know. You know exactly what you're doing. However, we sometimes veer to the left when we should be going to the right. We do a lot of those lefts, like food and all these other things. Our wise thoughts, words, and actions sometimes kind of get thrown out in the trash. We go, I don't care. I'm just gonna have this ice cream anyway. Or whatever. Habits, take over, and yeah.
And then you get to watch karma come and smack you upside the butt and say, hey, you weren't supposed to do that. It's become comical to me when I do something I know I'm not supposed to do, to watch how fast the universe corrects me. It's sometimes within minutes. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm trusting that a lot more.
It like shows up when you're doing your work. It shows up quick. It does. Because you're allowing the process now. I think that's what's going on, as far as, we tend to, when we're not doing our work, we push it away. And then it shows up again somewhere else. We're like shoving it down, shove it down, put it, how they talk about shoving it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to show up,
Yeah.
work, doing our work, moving forward. That's why we talk about people, places, things, happiness, health, and wealth.
The replacement part of it's been very key for me, because there was a bit of a vacuum for a while. I'm like, I keep moving out, but nothing's in. So that's what's been great, is it's developed naturally as opposed to I haven't forced it, which has been nice. I'm just kind of allowing. See how that goes.
My ancient master had, I had been doing that all along, holding things up, holding it. And my ancient master said to me, and it was in a meditation, and he said, "You see yourself there holding that waterfall there?" And that's what I was doing. My arms were sore. I was in the middle of sleep in I was doing some sort of meditation. I don't know, but I remember this fully as my arms were super sore. And he's like, "You see that there? You're holding it. Just pull back and let it go. Now float." And I floated on top of the water and I went with the river. And he goes, "Now look at how shallow that water is. You can stand up." And I stood up and it was only like this much water. And he's like, "Now you can go to the side and just view it."
That's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. I really liked it.
Thank you.
So now is the time, Leslie, we do our love offering, and then we also do a silent meditation that you would be doing. Do you have your silent meditation?
I
Not
have a
silent,
meditation.
your guided meditation.
Let me go find it.
Zoom.
No.
Wow.
Will there be two recordings now?
No, it's just paused. Stops for a minute.
Okay.
So we'll do our love offering.
So now it's time we ask for the love offering. We ask you to place it between your hands and give it a blessing. Using the law of tenfold, we know that giving away freely will return that funds 10 times. Mother, Father, God, we ask that the funds that are put between our hands are used for the highest and best for the chapel's well-being, for its mission, and for its purpose. We ask that it comes back tenfold. Amen.
Amen.
And if you're in the chapel, it's there in the middle. And for those on Zoom, please give on unitedfellowshipchapel.org. Excellent. And now it's time for the healing meditation. Ask for you to find a comfortable place. All right. Let us start with your breath. It's the first expression you've ever made in this body and in this world. It's been with you always and will always be with you. Breathe in with me, starting at the bottom of your belly, filling up like a jar being filled with sand. Let your lungs fill up slowly all the way to the top. Then release with a gentle exhale. As you continue to breathe, you notice that you're on a path. Allow your eyes to close. On that path up ahead of you is a large stadium. The stadium is quite tall and sparkling white. The spires reach up to the sky, which are filled with brilliant stars and a big full moon. You follow the gentle flow of people into the stadium and easily find your place. The stadium is filled with people from all over the world who are here with intention to heal themselves and those they love. You begin to feel lightness in your chest, near your power center for love, where your spleen chakra is, just below your breastbone. You feel a warmth and a glowing of rich, abundant golden light. It feels like a small sun. Allow that warm gold light to wash over you, to warm your bones, to settle you further in your seat, and to calm your soul. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. There's nowhere else you need to be right now. This is what you want to do. You are all-knowing and all-seeing. Starting at your feet, relax them and let the warm sun wash over them. To your calves and your knees and your thighs, allow them to become heavy and settled. Your pelvis area is a wooden bowl filled with cherries. Arrange your hips just so that it's level and relaxed and won't spill one of those precious red fruit. Allow the sun to travel up your spine to your rib cage. And imagine the golden light traveling from your spinal column into each of your ribs, like 1,000 sprites of golden sun energy swirling through your rib cage. Soft sparks opening up the ribs to breathe deeper still. You can feel that sun gather in your shoulder blades. Let those shoulder blades drop away from your ears and slide down your back. It's just so warm. Your golden energy now collects in your collarbones and up the sides of your neck, into your ears. You feel that ball of light move up to your ears, and you feel the sun on your cheeks. That warmth crawls its way slowly into your hair. You can feel those hair follicles glowing and itching with a fiery radiance. In your mind's eye, you notice the entire arena, that stadium, is now bathed in that golden glow for everyone, as everyone ignites their highest and best within them. You observe that others in the arena are focusing their golden light to a door in the center of the arena. It's a red heavy metal door suspended. You focus your energy on that light, on that door as well, slowly changing colors, absorbing your light to your very favorite color. The door starts to glow as well. No need to hurry or push your way to the door as it materializes right in front of you. It's your destiny. You know that behind the door is the invisible realm, that once you enter, you'll be easily able to communicate with yourself and anyone else waiting to show what they need to show you. Once you enter, you know that the best step along your journey is next. You'll see yourself as you really are, knowing that there's nothing you can't handle or understanding. I'm going to leave you here to step through your door after I count you off in entry. Don't worry, you got this. Going after 3, 2, 1, and take that step. Gently bringing your attention back to your breath. I invite you to come back through that door, stepping through, knowing that you have all the tools you require to be successful in this life. Remembering that all that you've heard, seen, and felt, and feeling peaceful and keen, I invite you to open your eyes. And I thank you.
Part where everyone shares about their wisdom, self-revelation. So Leslie's going to be asking each of you to share about your wisdom in your meditation.
Excellent. Jennifer, why don't you start off?
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Part of my meditation began with all of the hurly-burly of the day and settling that away. And then I came to this understanding of wisdom with being able to come to that silence, bring myself into that peace, and quiet my mind so I can listen to that still small voice. So what I got from it is I want to embrace that silence more and seek it out at all times.
Lovely. Thank you. Kim.
What I self-realized was when you first started the meditation off, you talked about going into like a stadium type, and I visioned myself going in and all these people kind of like, you know, and it's almost like looking at myself through, and this was what I was like, really? But so I was trying to see, but they all looked like me. So it was like all the people in my past lives. So I was like looking, but they all still were me. So I was feeling that. So that kind of put me there. And then when you talked about walking into a door, I kind of visualized myself walking around the stadium trying to figure them out. And then when I went into a door, I went and sat with my dad and my grandfather. And I felt like their knowledge was just, and we didn't even speak. We just all sat there and just held hands. And I thought that was really beautiful. And, you know, normally I would tend and cry because I thought, oh, how much I miss my dad. But I felt really like at peace. It was really nice that I thought, he is with me. And so that, that's kind of also what I experienced. So, so my wisdom, I would feel, was looking at myself and all the wisdom I have gained. I have gained throughout my life and lifetimes, and the wisdom I received from two men in my life that were very important. So thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Lady J, what did you experience?
When I went through the door, it was just a huge, I thought it was a room, but then I think it turned out just to be a huge expanse. And then somehow I came to my family farm, which we're trying to turn into a conservancy. And I just got the feeling, just a really good feeling about it, that it was a wonderful legacy to leave. And then I wondered what else would be my legacy. And lots of stuff floated through, but nothing really stuck. So I don't think I quite have that part yet. But I feel like what we're doing is the right path. And I started out thinking it was the right path, and then I lately have been wondering if it's the right path. So it was really nice to have a confirmation. Thank you.
Good. Lovely. Sabine, what did you experience?
Well, when we first went into the stadium, I was like, oh, I kind of get like busy places. Lots of people can make me a little anxious, and so immediately that brought me to these fairs that we would go to once a year, and they're in the town I grew up with, Antwerp, and they're like huge, big. It's like an annual thing, and they're like month long, and so many people from all over the country come. And it was really exciting for me to go, but also a little scary. But my dad was holding my hand, and just that trust, that wisdom to trust, your parents. And we all do, even, you probably, we all do trust them. Those are the ones that were born and we trust. And sometimes, for better or worse, but I'd always felt so protected. And then that brought me to my own children, and walking, at Disney and holding their hand, and that trust, and that gives you that safety. And then just somehow now they all grow up. It brought me to, now one is an adult and the other one is spreading his wings, and he doesn't want to hold the hand anymore. He kind of knows, that wisdom inside of him knows it's time for me to break free. And just it kind of was the cycle of growing up, and having that protection, and then letting go, and now kind of letting go of my youngest one. And then in the end, when we were almost done and still in that room, it just all brought all kinds of people that make me feel protected and loved in life, and we were all there and all holding hands, and just kind of saying it's not just parents, but there's so many people that can make you feel safe and protected, which is beautiful.
That's lovely. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Mike, do you have something to share with us?
I do. Thank you. Sorry about the video earlier. I was having some technical issues, so I'm glad that
No problem at all. Thanks for joining us.
Get it all sorted out. No, just when I went through the door, I've been going through some stuff right now and trying to figure out if I'm on the correct path as I work my way through this. And just going through the door, I ended up just sitting down in a calm room in a recliner and grabbing a book and reading, and that told me pretty much that I'm on the right path.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Yep. Kim, what did you experience? Kim Rezik. Kim?
It's a little break.
There you are. Okay. And in chapel, we have Reverend Ernestina.
Yes. I had a very nice, calm meditation. I got to the red door, and then one of my guides came there, and she had this really beautiful long robe, and the light that she carried with her actually was the same color as your hair, which was really interesting, because once I saw that, it was like I was gone. It was like I don't even know where I was at, but I knew that I was very safe. And I was very calm and very peaceful. I saw
Thank you.
A healing place, so thank you.
Bright pink. Very good. Reverend Angie or Reverend David, would you like to share your experience?
I'll share first. We're looking at each other like, which one? Mine was kind of similar to Kim Van Diesel. Dazzle. And I went through, the big visual of all of me, and that was all of you. So like all of me is all of you. So it became even though it was a past life thing of who I was, it's still what I see today too. So like even like the faces are still the same, but they're just someone else in a visual of me, which was really interesting. And then when I went through the door, I was visiting. I felt really, at first I felt really connected with the support system, like the your guides and stuff like that. I felt like I had all that right there in that protection. But then I started visiting with someone that had left this lifetime. And he told me, it's kind of a touchy, thing, because we were in a relationship, and he said, now, do you remember before I passed on how I mentioned that I would be that I'm working on the other side for you? And he's like, this is all the workings that we were doing. You are doing that work. And then I saw myself around 75 and what I would be doing then, also with the work here. And that as I build into my elder years, continuing on, even though, my age carries, some people think that at 75, you're complete or whatever. But he was saying, like, you see David, you see what he's doing here. You are doing that too. You're doing that. See this? And he was just showing me the visual of continuing, that it's not like what it is out in the world of work. You're healing yourself by supporting others in their life. And it's not a hard uphill climb when you're doing that work. It's very fulfilling. And so I was in that, and that was wisdom to me. So that was great. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
You don't need to do that.
Okay.
In the meditation, I really don't go many places. I go intuitively, so I don't pick it up until after I hear everybody talk and everything, And so what was drawn out of me today is that I see all the conditions that y'all are doing, and not only have I done all of them, but I'm still doing some of them that you're all doing. And when I mentioned of knowing what not to do, is that it's still very strong for me right now. But because I'm going to go this next weekend, I'm going to go and be with some of my family. And there's one person in the family I hardly haven't seen much of at all. Irene, we had a nice connection and everything. But there's another sister that's going on. I haven't seen her in probably 7 or 8 years and everything. And I attribute to my mother of teaching her how to be a very good enabler. And so I'm going to have to be on my wise things is to stay calm. And that's one of the things I found with my development is to stay calm. Because I've done a lot of things that were not calm. And when people ask me, well, aren't you excited? I says, no, because every time I get excited, I get into things that I really don't want to do. So I'm igniting peace so that I will have peace going on there in these next 3 or 4 days. Thank you for your class, Leslie.
Thank you, Reverend David.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Great class.
Anyone have any other comments? No one.
All right.
All right. And Leslie, you want to do the closing words?
I'd be happy to. Mother, Father, God, thank you for your infinite light of protection that has been placed around us. We trust that the highest and best is manifest in us and will continue to do so as we go through our day. And as we continue on our day, when we incur other people, we'll know more about them because we know more about ourselves. We give thanks. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.